Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you this afternoon with a special kind of spur of the moment IPA examination. We're calling this, it's an IPA kind of Saturday. I've got Mr. Michael Komaroff here with me, and we're looking at some IPAs. I'll let you go first, Michael. What do you
Okay,
drink
so
today?
I have is something that's actually brewed in New York City in the Bronx called Bronx Brewery World Gone Rosé. And the way they describe it, it's a hazy India Pale Ale brewed with hibiscus and dragon fruit. And it's 7% alcohol. And I am going to pour it so you can get a look of the hazy look of what exactly it looks like in the glass. I have one of these heavy duty glasses that I've taken out. I know I can get the whole thing in. Let's see if you can actually see the pouring. Yours is going to be hazier than mine. I can tell just from the initial beginning of the pour. It's hazy, but it's not. In other words, look at mine, John. It's hazy, but it's not hazy where you can't see through it. Yours is going to be hazy where you can't see through it, I think.
Although I will say that it looks, I mean, at least on my end, it looks pretty dark, like you can't really see a lot.
It's hazy. But again, I've
Yeah.
had experience drinking the beers you're talking about, the Trilliums, the Tree Houses. Those are extremely hazy. This would be, this is better than a macro haze. Don't get me wrong. Bronx is a craft brewery, and this is a regular haze. It's just the haze is not as intense as yours is going to be.
Right. All right. Well, speaking of my beer, I'll go ahead and show you guys what I've got. This is from Treehouse Brewing. It's called Citra Always, and it is an 8.4% American double IPA. It was canned 2 days ago at the time of this live stream. We'll go ahead and pour it up. And this is what you get with a Treehouse beer. 9 times out of 10 with the appearance, it's going to be bright orange, but you're not really seeing through that at all. It looks like orange juice with a head.
And yours look lighter than mine. Mine is more orange. But keep in mind, mine has hibiscus and dragon fruit, which is going to affect the coloration too, I would assume.
The dragon fruit especially, I would think, would darken it.
That's going to make it darker. If it was just a straight IPA, are you getting some nice noses on it?
Oh, yeah. A lot of citrus and tropical fruit. One thing that I get a lot of with Treehouse IPAs is guava. And I'm detecting a little bit of a guava aroma on this as well. Mango, slight pineapple, definitely very juicy on the nose. And then you always get a nice underlying malt aroma as well, like a wheat bready character with these types of beers. It smells absolutely incredible. I mean, I would expect nothing less, and especially considering that it's only 2 days old. Beautiful looking beer, beautiful smelling beer. It's got a little bit of a head, nothing too crazy, but 8.4%. We're getting up there in the ABV. Yeah, it smells absolutely delightful.
All right, I'll give you the nose on mine. It's not as heavy duty as yours, but I'm getting some of the fruitiness in the nose. I don't know what dragon fruit would smell like, so I can't tell you if that's what I'm getting. But I'm getting a fruity kind of lead nose on it. Let's see what else I can get from here. It almost is like it's since I've really never smelled dragon fruit. I don't know what it smells like. What does hibiscus smell like? Have you smelled a hibiscus plant?
Yeah, very very floral, like
because I was going to say I'm getting kind of a floral nose too.
I would say like think of a really nice spring, like fresh flower arrangement. All the floral, the sweet flowery type aromas that you would get. That's what hibiscus reminds me of.
I'm getting that, but it's funny now. The IPA itself, the hops and whatever is underneath, I can smell that too. It's like you can smell that besides the additives, those two, the hibiscus and you're getting like you could tell if somebody gave you this totally blind and they gave you the beer and you weren't looking at it, you were blindfolded and you smelled it, you could tell this is an IPA. You would know right away. You wouldn't think it was a fruited sour. You wouldn't think it was. Try to think what else it could be. They make some of those fruity beers that aren't sours, but like a fruited ale. You could tell this is an IPA just by the undertones. And I'm not getting the really kind of background malt that you were talking about that's underneath on this now. I might get it in the taste. It's possible that it's there, but the fruitiness and the that kind of floral hibiscus kind of thing is the lead thing that I'm getting on the nose.
Okay.
Should we just say cheers and take a big swig?
Let's do it. Why not? It's just us.
Cheers.
Cheers. Sorry if there's noise. I muted my phone, but my iPad is getting my wife is sending me all of these texts. She's at Costco. Like, what should I get this? Should I get this? I'm trying to minimize it.
You're having to multitask as we're going. It's interesting. My initial flavor on this, it's not fruity in the taste. It's more. Let me take another sip. It almost now. I guess they said rosé, so it almost comes across in kind of a wine-like way. In the way that it's not really wine. It's kind of like if you were drinking a glass of wine, you get kind of a wine kind of taste. It has that in the background. In other words, the initial things is fruit. You get the fruit right away, but then after that, there's kind of like a wine. So I guess they're trying to create a rosé kind of feel to what this is, the combination.
Yeah. Usually wine too, like I think of like Brut IPA or something, like the wine that the IPAs that have the really kind of almost like champagne finish where it's really dry, like a glass of white wine, or although a rosé is a little bit different, but does it have a really dry finish to it? Or is it more juicy because of the dragon fruit and all that, the hibiscus?
It dries at the end, so it has more of that brute kind of finish. But you're getting the combination of the hibiscus and the dragon fruit continuing on your tongue as you keep taking sips of it. So they're the lead flavors, but it's almost like they've combined it in a way, maybe the way they hook up the hops and the malts to create kind of like a brut IPA kind of thing with a rosé feel instead of a brut feel, kind of more like a rosé. And the coloration. If you look at the coloration, rosés would be also, they might be more red, but they would make the beer darker if it started out to be golden. So they would make it a little bit darker in the look. But I'm very happy with it. It's very good.
Nice. Okay. Well, real quick, I'll break mine down. So the nose, or the palate follows the nose. Definitely a lot of kind of tropical fruit and citrus right up front. I would say tangerine, and then a little bit of mango and pineapple action. That guava is definitely there. If you've ever had guava, it's a very interesting, unique flavor that, to me, every time I get those notes, it's just immediately, it's like, all right, that's what that is, guava. And Treehouse, with the way that they hop their beers, I would say probably 8 out of 10 Treehouse beers have a pretty heavy guava note from the way that they hop their beers. Some beers that they make actually have guava puree in them, among other things, depending on the type of beer. But a lot of times I'm just getting those flavors from the hopping. And this beer is called Citra Always. So the main hop in here is Citra. So somehow they create a lot of tropical fruit flavors just from the one hop. Which is really cool, that they can create that you can get all of those flavors out of one type of hop, depending on the way that you hop it, what point in the brewing process you add it in there. They do a lot of dry hopping, so that intensifies the flavors. It does say this single hop beer, so Citra hops only. Um, says expresses the best attributes of the hop: citrus, stone fruit, lychee, ripe mango, clementine. I mentioned the tangerine, and a hint of vanilla. I'm not so much getting the vanilla, but it is sweet, just from the nice juicy hop profile.
Can you taste stone fruit? That's kind of harder to describe because I really
I
have
would
not
say
had
so.
stone fruit before.
A lot of their beers, I do get stone fruit, like a peach or a nectarine, but with this one, I'm getting that guava flavor. I'm not really getting stone fruit as much. Um, I mean, it's super enjoyable. I don't really like lychee. I'm not really very good at lychee. When people say lychee, that really doesn't mean much to me. Like it's fruity. Would I say lychee specifically? No. Um, and because I've had a couple of lychee beers, like where they actually add lychee in there, and this doesn't have that type of flavor to me. Mostly pineapple, mango, the guava notes, the orange citrus, and that's pretty much it. It's very juicy all the way through. I would say medium body for an 8.4%. This drink's super smooth. It's very soft, almost velvety on the tongue, and then it finishes juicy as well. There's nothing drying about this finish. The juiciness is all the way throughout the beer, and a lot of people talk about a beer that has a nice dry finish. It's very short lived. It's inviting. You want to keep drinking it because it dries out the palate on the way down, so it like increases your thirst. With this one, it's juicy all the way through, but at the same time, it's still super enjoyable. And if you're drinking, on a hot day, if you're drinking something that's very juicy, very refreshing, you want to keep drinking it. So this beer is perfect for this time of year. It's starting to warm up a little bit. We've got summer just around the corner. Like, this is a really enjoyable IPA that is a little bit more thirst quenching than your like West Coast, more traditional, like bitter IPAs that dry out the palate. This one wets the whistle, and it definitely delivers in the flavor department. Carbonation is medium as well, but this is just a typical treehouse type of beer. Really, really enjoyable. I would say if you've had one, you've had them all, but that's not really true. But the type of beer that you're getting with Treehouse is going to be very much like
The
this.
only treehouse beer I had before last week was one called Green, and I really liked it. Have you had Green before?
I have. This is very, very similar to Green. I would say with the Treehouse IPAs like this, the way that they hop the beer is a little different. They use different hops. So you get subtle differences in tropical fruit and citrus notes from beer to beer, but the backbone is very similar for most of these Treehouse beers. And if you like this style, you're
in
gonna.
The ones we did last week, we had the 6.8% Julius, which is also another of the same style for sure. But this wasn't a double; it was a straight IPA, and we didn't have the double Julius, whatever it's called. There's a higher amped up. So we have Dirty Operations here.
So which location are you 10 minutes from the original brewery in Charlton, or are we talking about the one in Tewksbury? Just curious. I know they have several locations. I'm about 15 minutes away from the new location in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Drop a comment. Let us know. I'm curious to know which.
Is there one in a town called Malden, or am I thinking of the other company? Am I thinking of
Trillium?
Trillium. Could Trillium have a location in something with an M, like Malden or
Malden, Methuen? Yeah, I think maybe because Trillium, they're right out of Boston, and most of their locations, I think they have 6 locations, Trillium. They're all in the greater Boston area, and Malden is like right outside of Boston. So that
must be one of the Trillium locations. But the one that you're going to now, that's closer to your house, is one of the newer ones.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So South Deerfield, Massachusetts. Yeah, there's a Treehouse location there. Treehouse has, I don't know, 4 or 5 locations now. I know Deerfield, Charlton, Tewksbury. I know there's at least one more. but yeah, South Deerfield. That's I think actually South Deerfield and Charlton were the first two, and then you've got Tewksbury, and then one or two other locations, smaller locations, as well. Now they're really growing a lot, but you got to live close to the breweries because to get their beer because they still don't distribute, which is kind of a really good thing in a lot of ways because you're ensured that the quality assurance and the freshness and all of that's going to be spot on. But at the same time, it's kind of a bummer for people that don't live close enough to the brewery to get their beers regularly because they're really good, and I would want to buy them a lot. So,
Right.
yeah, they have quite a few. If you go to if you Google Treehouse Brewery dirty operations, you'll see at least 5 or 6 locations pop up. But that's really cool that you're 10 minutes away. Get some pretty good beers from Treehouse. Thanks
When,
for tuning
John,
in. We appreciate it.
when I first started going to Other Half, pretty much when they first opened, they didn't distribute anywhere else either. You had to get it at the brewery, and the reason that people traveled to go there is they would buy the Other Half to trade for Treehouse and Trillium. In other words, they had friends in Massachusetts, so they would buy the Other Half, and they would go up. They wouldn't go to Massachusetts. They'd meet like in Connecticut or something and do like a beer trade-off kind of thing. And now Other Half, as you know, is all over the place. They might have 7 different locations now, and they've spread way out of the state.
Yeah,
DC,
I
Philly.
get Other Half here now. A couple years ago, when I first moved up to Massachusetts, I could not get Other Half, and slowly I started seeing them every now and then at different package stores, and now pretty much everywhere around here sells at least one type of Other Half IPA. So.
And you'll probably see more as time goes on, only because with this rapid expansion, the one out in the Finger Lakes is where they brew most of the beer that they ship wherever they're going to ship it. But all the local locations, and since it was here first, we have 4 locations in New York, but they're all mostly brew pubs. This one is Brooklyn. I'm only a half a mile. I'm a half a mile.
I was going to say like 2 or 3 blocks away.
Half a mile, to be fair, but you can walk there in 10 or 15 minutes if you wanted to. I mean,
that's pretty amazing. We actually have a local brewery now too. I don't know if I have told you, but Navigation, which is out of Lowell, which is a town over, they opened up a location right in the center of Chelmsford. It's about a 10 to 15 minute walk if I wanted to walk, or like a 2-3 minute drive. And that's their Navigation Brewing.
How's the beer?
It's really good. It's really good. They have a couple of really good pale ales, a juicy IPA that's not quite on the same level as Treehouse, but very good. They have their anniversary cherry stout, which is really good. They have Belgian ales. They kind of have a little bit of everything.
That's good.
And they're really good. The only thing is you go to the brewery and you can get as much as you want on draft, but they currently aren't brewing at that location yet, and they don't have cans to go yet. So you just go in, you get your mug, and you can drink as much as you want, but you can't
take any home, and that means
you can't with you yet.
You can't do any beer reviews of them until they eventually do can.
Right. You can buy cans at their original location in Lowell, and they sell some of their stuff. They do distribute very locally, so you can probably find some cans at the local package store, but I'm waiting for the brewery to start actually brewing at the Chelmsford location, and I'm excited to start getting some 4-packs and start reviewing some super local beer. I've never had a brewery this close to me before, so it's really exciting.
What I was going to say, let me give you, I haven't said anything about this in a while. Do you notice how you're getting really nice lacing along the top of this? The head basically faded, by the way, on mine to just like a slim, but it's a white head, and the nose is pretty much the same. Let me see the taste. The carbonation is kind of like fizzy, like a fizzy kind of carbonation, but it's well carbonated.
Would you say like champagne-like carbonation, like very?
Well, I guess it's not as high as that, but it's and obviously if you're drinking a rosé wine, it's not going to be carbonated; it would just be flat. But it's more. It's kind of, I guess, it kind of has a little bit of a champagne kind of feel to it in a way. But they've done. There has to be something in the, like I said before, in the hops and the malts. They've combined them, put in the hibiscus, and put in the dragon fruit together, and they've made this very interesting combination. And I guess you could almost call this like not a brewed IPA, but like a rosé IPA, because they've created that kind of taste profile in it. And I like it.
Nice. Now, Bronx Brewery, I have never heard of them, honestly, before today when you were telling me about your beer. Is it a newer brewery? Have they been around for a while?
Well, they've been around, but I think it's in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, they started canning stuff and getting better distribution. Because in the beginning, their deal was the same as what you have at your local. You'd have to come down to their brewery to drink the beer on tap there, and that was it. So now they are getting better distribution, and but they've been around for a while.
Okay.
Now, you've never seen a Bronx Brewery beer in Massachusetts since you've been there?
I have not. That doesn't mean that we can't get them. I just, we have so many beers here, a lot of local stuff that, unless I'm specifically looking for something like that, I probably would just overlook it. But now that I know about them, I will see, I'll check at the package store the next time I go and just see if they carry any of their beers, especially since they've been around. You said 10, 15 years or so they've been around. So.
They've been around for a while. This one came in one of you. I've told you about these mystery packs I get at the co-op. So what happens is at the co-op, and it's amazing, they'll pack these 16-ounce cans, and you can get a 12-pack of these. You have to buy them together, and you don't know what's inside, for $12, $1 a can. Which if you think about it, this kind of thing, if you bought it regularly, would be at least be $3 a can, $3.50, whatever, $4, whatever it is. And the way they're able to do it is they probably have extra cans which they could sell in the co-op. They could sell them individually if they want, but they don't want to bother doing that. They'd rather prepackage it. You take your chance. And the one that I had this. It had something from Amagon. Have you seen Amagon Gunamagon? Does that ring a bell to you or not?
I've heard of it. We do get Amagon beers here, but I don't know if I haven't had that beer before, but I've heard of it.
You know their stuff is all Belgian style. So this one is one. It's like a Belgian. I've had one. I got 3 in this 12-pack. I tried one already, and I had already bought one in my local place in a bigger 19.2 ounce can. So they make them in big cans too. But I hadn't had it yet. And then I got these 3 and 16-ounce cans. Now, obviously, when you're getting this for $1 a can, it's much cheaper because the 19.2 ounce can in your local grocery store, they charge you $2.99 for. But again, I didn't know I was going to get 3 of them. So I have a big can too. But it's like a Belgian triple, and it has all the Belgian yeast. And you like Belgian beers, so you like it.
I love Belgian beers, yeah.
So if you see Gunamagon, you should pick one up if you can get. See, singles are the hardest thing. If you have to go to your package store and buy a 4-pack, that means you have a cash involvement that's much bigger. If you can get a single can or whatever, co-op, you can buy a single.
Yeah, the good thing about the package store that I go to in Westford, which is about a 10-minute drive to this store that I go to. It's called Craft Beer Cellar, and they're great. They have 4-packs, 6-packs, 12-packs, whatever, but you can break up anything you want. You can buy singles of anything. There was a store when I lived in Columbus, Georgia, that it was called Cagney's Party Shop. I still remember the name because that was my go-to spot down there. And it was the same type of deal where you go in there and they have such a great selection, and all of the beers are packaged in 4-packs, 6-packs, or more. But you could take one if you wanted to, and they would charge you for a single bottle or can price. So it is really nice to have that flexibility because you get to try a lot more stuff. You don't always have to commit to such a large, especially when you try a new beer, you don't know if you're going to like it. So it's always nice to just buy a single if you can.
I have a supermarket on my corner. The problem is they won't let you break them up. So there's no singles there. The only singles they have are the big 19.2 ounce cans, which they have a terrific selection of. You know, they have all the stuff from New Belgium, you know, that whole series of IPAs. But I've gotten to the point now, and I'm not going to put down New Belgium specifically. It seems like with some of these craft breweries that have been around for a while, that not that their products have gotten worse, the better craft brewers have just gotten better. So now they're trying to keep the distance, you know, so they can, but it's not really the same market. If you're going to go to this thing to buy a 19.2 ounce can of what's New Belgium series, their most famous series of IPAs?
Of IPAs. They do the Voodoo Ranger line.
Okay, so that whole Voodoo Ranger series probably has 6 or 7 beers in it, and they have most of them in 19.2 ounce cans for anywhere from $2.99 to $3.49. So their top end stuff, higher alcohol stuff, will be $3.49, which is an okay price for 19.
It's not bad. Their top ABV IPAs are like 9.1%. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with that.
And even the lower ones that are 6.5, whatever they are, you $2.99, which is not a horrendous price. I guess the point I'm making is when you're taking your Treehouse, Trillium, other half, we could name 15 of those top end companies. The one that makes Hetty Topper is a top end.
The Alchemist, The Alchemist.
And there's the Maine Brewing that does the lunch and the whatever. Those are all top end. But again, the prices are so much higher per beer than it would be for the. How much was that one? That single can.
If you do the math and you break it down to per can price, you're looking at $5.25 for a can, a 16-ounce can.
Again, that's what the other half stuff sells for too.
Yeah.
Buy at the brewery. You can get probably a 4-pack for $20, so you could save the quarter, and it'll be $5 a beer if you bought it at the brewery. So,
right.
4-pack, whatever. And their beers are comparable with Treehouse, I think. I mean, the other half you've had, they've been comparable. I mean,
other half is very, they're definitely comparable to Treehouse, especially when you get the cans that like super fresh, like 2 days old, stuff like that. I'm sure your cans down there are a little bit fresher than the ones I get up here because you're so close to the brewery. So,
but I actually think now with this way the distribution is, they might have pretty much stopped the basic brewing operation here, and they've made it just a brew pub. And what I've heard, again, this could be they may now some of the other ones they've set up, maybe in DC now, which is one of the newer ones, or Philly, maybe they have some brewing operations. But I guess in the Finger Lakes, you have cheaper land, so you could set up, a bigger brewery operation, and then it's not that far away. You can ship it to different places from there. But I have friends who go around and they'll go on a other half tour, and they'll go to all 4 locations in the same day. I don't understand the reason. I guess they figure they'll all have different stuff. There's one here, there's one at Domino Sugar used to be. There's one in Rockefeller Center, in Midtown Manhattan or north of Midtown Manhattan, but whatever. So they have all these different ones. And it's funny, haven't discussed this much, but in that last one that we had, remember I told you about Stoutfest?
Mm-hmm.
There was no Bourbon County and there was no Evil Twin. And I was surprised. I didn't bring any, so I had to depend on the other 5 people.
Right.
Everything else you can think of, if you looked at the individual beers, was pretty much there. Founders was there, and but see, again, we didn't drink all the beer we brought, because I told you at the end you get to depending on how your beers did, you get to pick and take home. I took home a 2018 Founders KBS in one of the big bottles, one of the 22 ounce.
2018. Wow, that's got some age to it now.
I'm saying, and it's 12%. So I'm not worried about it. You could sit on it another. Look, you've heard 5 years from Bourbon County, but I think in the case of Founders, it can go even longer.
I had a 5-year-old KBS before Mr. Shane Fudge gave it to me when we met up in Tennessee years ago. And I don't remember the year, but I remember at the time that I drank it, that I reviewed it. It's on my channel somewhere. It was 5 years old. And it was the best KBS I've ever had. The good thing about KBS, if you're not a huge coffee fan, but you love your bourbon barrel-aged stouts, the coffee fades. So what you end up getting with the older KBSs is a much more Bourbon County-like experience because the coffee has been muted and the bourbon notes are really popping. So when you do drink that KBS, we may have to do like a live examination or something of KBS beers, because I'm telling you, that's going to be probably the best KBS you've ever had because it's so old.
Can you get an older KBS somewhere? I'm not saying it has to be from 2000.
I can get, not 4 or 5 years old, but I can get one that's maybe 2 years, at least 1 year if I'm
okay, because we can certainly do that. It's a big bottle, but over the course of an hour and a half, I can drink it. I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes it's funny when I'm on the computer and I'm doing my own little individual beer reviews. You've seen this book before, but anyway, I do individual beer reviews on an individual can or bottle, whatever I'm doing. I tend to not want to do more than one if the alcohol is really high, because I don't want to, you don't want to go to sleep, semi where you really can feel it. So I just try to, or I drink it over a really longer period of time where it doesn't affect me. And I drink water to kind of tone it down. But for the most part, and when we went to this Stout Fest, it was interesting. And I don't know if I told you this or not. This was the first time realizing that we couldn't drink the whole big bottles down because we only had 6 people. We lined them up, had them there for the whole thing, and could do comparisons as we went. So let's say we came up with another coconut stout that we just came up with. We had one at the beginning. You could compare them. And even when the beers sit around with stouts, they get sometimes better, more flavors when they warm up than when they're really cold. So it was pretty good. And we lined them up in order, 1, 2, 3. And eventually you move other beers in and you get infighting because I have this guy, Alaric, who's there. I have very similar taste to him. So we became kind of like a team the way we voted. And when you only have 6 people, if 2 are voting one way, it could be pretty good. But the other side is then there was a team of 2 other people who disagreed with us. So you had to settle it where everybody at least came to the middle and then you agreed and whatever. The Lagunitas Willatize came in 9th. And that shows you the caliber of what was there. So I mean,
which is right. If the Lagunitas is coming, if the Willatize is coming in 9th place overall, that you've got some pretty special beers there, because the Willatize, in my opinion, is a high A to borderline world class barrel aged stout for sure.
But John, the stuff that came in the top was weirder stuff. Like, in other words, there was one that was. It was coconut, and the coconut ones, you would have just started going wild. You would have said, because really heavy coconut-based stout, and that was the lead taste. And they always have to have some chocolate and other stuff because it can't be 100% coconut because it would get cloying. It would get too sweet. But they toned the coconut down with the malts, and the coconut stuff did very well. And I think the one that came in first was it pineapple? Let me look. It was from Other Half, and it was really good.
I remember the picture you sent. I thought that was a little strange, the pineapple stout, but I bet it was pretty dang good.
It was weird. It was weird though because you don't expect the pineapple stout. It was kind of surprising. And then the next 2 that came in were both coconut. 2 and 3 were coconut. So it just shows you in this tasting how whatever. And I'd heard of some of the companies I hadn't. There was the one that came in 5th was from Ireland, an Irish stout called Galway, Galway, counting off the name. Humble Sea, and then a Trillium, Doppio Afla. You've had some Trillium stouts, right?
Yes, but not that one though.
And then and the one that finished last was from the brewery. And it finished last only because it was a white chocolate IPA. So the people who viewed it wasn't black. It was kind of like light brown. And I say light brown, it wasn't even dark brown. It was light. So it was, if you've had the white, what's the other company that makes a white stout that we've had?
The Dragon's white
The Dragon's
stout.
Milk has a white one. All right. So this brewery one was more complex than the Dragon's Milk white one. But if you're in a full stout blown on thing and something like this comes up, it tells you, look, I mean, it was good. It just wasn't anywhere close to all the rest of the stuff.
You don't bring a white stout beer to a barrel aged, dark stout fest and expect it to do really well.
And they make some of the best stouts that you'll ever have, dessert stouts and whatever the brewery. So I mean, it's not like they're not good in their brewing.
Right.
This didn't fit. This just didn't fit in place here. And the guy who brought it,
it's like a treehouse, like this IPA. It's outstanding. But if I brought this to a tasting event and all the other beers are bourbon barrel-aged stouts, this is probably going to place at the bottom just because it can't compete with the complexity that a barrel-aged stout's going to give you. Right. Obviously, it doesn't fit because of the style, but just like a white stout, even though it's technically still called a stout, it really doesn't fit into that category. So it's going to underperform because it doesn't have the complexity and all the notes that you're going to get from a really high-end barrel aged stout.
That's why that did poorly. But I'm happy I got to try it because I haven't tried that many stouts in my drinking career.
And I've had a lot of their beers, and I'm sure it was really, really good for what it was.
The guy who gave it to him said it was really expensive too. But the problem you have is it just didn't fit here. He should have kept it for something else. He could have brought it to one of our tastings. It wouldn't have won, but it might have done better because it would have slipped ahead of some of the other styles because it wasn't a bad style. It just, you put it up against barrel-aged stouts that are really good, it's going to not do well. I mean, it's just not. It's just the way things are, and it's whatever.
We have a question in the chat that's been there for. We can answer this really quick. Dirty Operations was asking if we had any recommendations for a less carbed beer /IPA. I'm assuming you're talking about less carbonation, or maybe low carbohydrate, like healthier beer. I guess I don't know. Usually the IPAs are, if you're drinking stuff like this, the carbonation is not going to be too high, but if you want a light IPA, then drink something like Michael was showing earlier, like I can show it again,
but this doesn't have alcohol.
Well, but they have another one called they do have a light and hazy beer that's basically that beer with alcohol in it. I think it's like 3.5% or 4%.
Right, so it's a lower session beer that they also make. Why didn't they give me that one in my little thing here? I would have liked that. But I'm willing to try this. I mean, I'll put it in my book and I'll rate it, whatever. But if it may do badly because whatever.
Bell's and Founders both make light IPAs. The Founders one is called, I think, All Day IPA. And then Bell's
that's 4.7.
Yeah. So that's a lighter IPA. It maybe not light on the carbonation, but the carbohydrates is going to be lighter because it's much fewer calories. You don't get all of this, the haze. Typically, the less haze you have, the lighter calories. The more haze and the less you can see through the beer, the higher calorie count's going to be.
Right.
So
I'm enjoying mine though. I still have 2 more cans, but I mean, I'm enjoying this. And,
it's interesting too, as this beer's warming up, I am getting a little bit of peach. It talked about stone fruit on the label. So some of these heavy hitting IPAs too, I like them really ice cold, the best. Unlike stouts, I like to let warm up, but you do notice, the development of the flavor profile with these types of beers as well as they start to warm. And I am picking up a little bit of stone fruit now, which I was not getting initially. So I would still rather drink an IPA colder than warmer, but it's a nice flavor that I'm getting from that now. So Caitlin should be home in about 10 minutes. She's got $400 worth of groceries from Costco, so I'm going to have to go help her.
You have to help her unpack.
So
should we start talking about wrapping it up? And
we'll start. We'll talk a little bit more about the beers and give final thoughts and ratings. I mean, no rush. We still got a little bit of time, but if we start doing that now, we should be wrapped up in time.
You want me to do mine first?
Yeah.
Guess who's on? Ron Terrio has made an appearance.
Ron Terrio, I can bring it.
We have to cut it short, unfortunately.
Ron, we are just about to end it. This was a really quick thing. Yeah, but my wife's almost home. Like, we just kind of did this spur of the moment. I can if you want to. I'll you know what? We've got 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to send you the link privately if you want to come on here and review an IPA really quick. You're more than welcome to. I'll do that right now.
He's going to unfriend both of us on Facebook, he said.
I will. Well, I don't know if I want to be friends with somebody who can't spell unfriend correctly in the first place. He's going to unfriend us. Anyway, come on in, Ron. I want to send you the link really quick here. Let's see if this works. All right, I just sent you the link, Ron. You're welcome to join. That's the thing too. People think sometimes I'm like trying to exclude people or whatever. I'm really not. It's just my planning for these types of events is not what it used to be, because it's usually just like, hey, you want to do a quick review or whatever, and we just hop on here. So anyway, my Facebook's been hacked anyway, Ron, so I don't know. If you unfriend me, I probably wouldn't even notice. I haven't used Facebook in a long time. Anyway, Michael, give us some more thoughts.
Before Ron comes, I'm going to give this a high-end B+ for me, which is a 90. Is 90 still a B+ or 89? Where would the top B+ be?
89. Well, 89 would be a B+. 90 would be A- range.
All right, so I'm going to give it a B+, an 89, and it would have been better if it had been. They're trying to create this, so I guess this is what they want. If it had been less wine-like. But it's saying rosé, so they want it to be wine-like. And I'm saying I like the hibiscus, I like the floral in the hibiscus, and I like the way the dragon fruit is intermingled into it, the fruitiness that you're getting. But it's not a top-end juicy IPA to me.
Okay.
So I'm giving it an 89. But I have two more, and I don't know if I would buy this. If I get it in a 12-pack, it's certainly okay. I mean, it's fine.
I would say, yeah. I mean, that's not bad. Sounds interesting for sure. The different notes you're getting and all of that. 89. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm multitasking again. I'm keeping tabs on my wife to see where she is.
So is Caitlin on the move? Is she on the move from Costco?
She's on the way home. She's on the way home, but it looks like traffic is pretty bad. I'm tracking her on my phone. So the app. Geez, I'm sorry. I'm distracted. I gotta put the phone aside now. So the Treehouse beer. Citra always getting close to the end here. It's for an 8.4%, it goes down really quick. If it wasn't for this examination, this review, I probably would have already finished the beer. That's how smooth and easy drinking it is. I will say that as it warms a little bit, it does develop. You get some of that stone fruit, the guava, the tropical fruit notes, mango, slight pineapple with that citrus backbone and nice wheat bready notes. All of that comes together very nicely. Is this my favorite Treehouse beer? No, but it's definitely a solid A. I wouldn't say this is up in the world-class range, but it's getting close. I'm going to go 96 out of 100.
Okay.
I think it's definitely a solid A. If it had maybe a little bit more guava and maybe some more of that stone fruit, like they're talking about on the label. I think that might bump it up a little bit. But as with all of these Treehouse, these double IPAs like this, the alcohol is basically non-existent. It's super smooth, crush. It's about as sessionable as you can get for a beer that has this high alcohol. You're just not gonna. Other breweries, a lot of other breweries cannot create this type of feel for such a high ABV beer, and Treehouse does it better than most. So
Jay is opting for us getting together in the future for another hangout.
Okay, well, yeah, definitely.
I'm up for doing one. This one fit in with my schedule because Audrey is out. But I mean, it's almost like it's not like she says don't do it. It's just that you get in the way a little bit when you are doing it now because my computer now is in the office. It used to be downstairs, and the contract that John has come. So it's going to take a while because he still has to reconstruct the room. But I would say by late spring, which is we're already in now, if the worst case is you'll come in the fall, it'll definitely be done because whatever.
I mean, I could always come down there too, and just get a hotel. I mean, it's not like
we will have more fun if you actually hang out with us. It'll just be that much better. What else is happening with Bumpy? Do you get to see him pretty often?
Yeah, I saw him. Well, it's probably been about a month ago now, but got to see him. I went over to his place, and Tanner was there. And do you know who the Turtle Man is? The guy that I don't know if you've met him. He's a YouTube guy as well.
I might have seen him on a YouTube.
You probably have. So I got to meet him, and I got to see Tanner and Bumpy over at Bumpy's place, and we did a bunch of reviews that are on Tanner's channel, Bumpy's channel. There's a couple on my channel, and then more recently, Eric came here to my part of Massachusetts. We went to a couple breweries. We went to Treehouse, and then stopped at Navigation, the new location, and then came back here. And I think we did 2 beer reviews I think they're both posted on my channel now. So we did and he had a friend with him. His friend Mark was here too. So it was three of us, and we reviewed a couple of Treehouse beers actually. So those I
noticed fun. Also Eric and Tanner went down to visit Alex and posted a bunch of stuff. Did you see that? With other people that I didn't know. I guess they were either friends of Alex or friends of them.
BJ is a good buddy of Alex's, and they hang out a lot and do. He's on the lot of Alex's live shows. He actually works at a liquor store, package store, so he brings a lot of beers, and they review a lot of the beers that he brings together. And then Eric and Tanner were both visiting.
They were both down there. They were visiting some brewery in New Jersey by Alex's house.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
But the only people that I've met from these whole things are Ron Terrio and George Washington Bridge famous Madonna.
I haven't.
Several people.
Yeah. I haven't seen old James P. Madonna in a while. I don't know.
He had stuff going on with BC for a while, but they had a falling out over something.
Oh, really?
I don't know exactly what that was
I haven't seen him on one of Ron's live shows in a while either.
I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, he's still on Facebook. I'm still on Facebook, but I have to say I do less on Facebook than I did before, but I still do a lot of family stuff on Facebook too, where happy birthday to friends and family. I'm sorry that your Facebook got hacked, but is there a way to clear it up, or is it just, it's shot?
Oh, I'm just going to have to go in there and inactivate my account, change the password because it was hacked somehow. Somebody must have, and then, just reset it. But it's just kind of a pain in the butt. So right now, I think I just inactivated it so nobody can use it. And at some point, I'll go back in there and reactivate it. But I'm not in any hurry. I don't really look at Facebook much anymore. I do. YouTube is pretty much my means of social media. And then I use the Google Chat. Like if I want to join a live show or whatever, everybody's pretty good about posting the links in the Google Chat in the different Hangout groups. So if I want to join something, I'll find the link. I don't need to. It used to, Facebook was like the main way that everybody would send the links, but pretty much, you can find the links all on Google Chat nowadays, so it's fine.
I watch the replays of either Stout Sunday or he has, his anything Sunday, whatever you want to call it, bring wild card things. But it seems Sunday mornings don't work out for me anymore. So in some ways, Stout Sunday might have, died anyway for me, because I'm Sunday mornings, I'm always doing other stuff. And I like
watching. I'll watch the playback of a lot of them, because usually Sunday morning is baseball and other things. So I'll watch the playbacks, and then I watch the Fandango Friday and the Thursday one that Jay does. The Elbow has been joining a lot, and I always enjoy, like, he's into tequila. He brought like a really interesting tequila to last night's show. And then he's been drinking, a lot of whiskey and stuff too. But so yeah, that's always interesting. And David and Ron's relationship always cracks me up. The two of them going back and forth.
Have you gotten anything has Beer Man sent you any of his beers yet? Have you tasted any that he's
the first homebrew he ever did? The first two he sent to me, and Bumpy and I reviewed them live This is back when I was in my apartment up here in Mass. But none of his newer beers, just the
he has some recent stuff that he talks about in he has his gatherings for his Tuesday cheese deal. He'll talk about some of the stuff that he's doing now, which is interesting. Right. I haven't been on any of those either. I mean, sometimes on a Wednesday night, I could either go on Eric's show or Ron's show, depending on what Ron's doing. Ron's done more macro kind of stuff lately.
Ron, speaking of Ron, if you want to come in here and review a beer, I'm tracking my wife here. She's still in Burlington, so she's a good 20 minutes out. We can squeeze in a beer review if you like. If not, that's okay too. I could even crack open after I finish this. I've got a 4.7% Treehouse Pilsner hopped with Peacherine hops that I've been dying to try. So that's the good thing about Treehouse. They have all different. This is called Trail Peacherine. It is a Pilsner that is dry hopped with Peacherine hops from New Zealand.
Did you send Jay the link? Because he says he needs the link. Did you send it to him?
I sent it to you in the Google Chats, Ron.
Who's Square Table Degenerates? Is that?
That's Joey.
That somebody?
That's Joey Edible's STD podcast. He does a lot of interviews and stuff with people. He's got a good channel there. Old Joey. I haven't seen Joey in a while. How you doing, Joey? Let's see. Ron, I sent it to you. It looks like you there. Okay. You got it. Mr. Ron Terrio.
Hello. Okay.
I'll
have to
How you doing, Jay?
I'm fine. Beer Baron and John Elliott. I'll send y'all some friend requests because I was very hurt and I unfriended y'all because that's very wrong. But anyway, David came over today and we were in the backyard doing beer reviews. We started doing the first review for Mortal Bloom, founders of Mortal Bloom.
Ooh, okay.
And then he was like, "Well, I think the flavor is," and then my camera went brrr, and then it started spinning, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Your camera is doing something," and it was saying, "Retrieving memory, please wait." Well, we waited and waited, and then it was saying it couldn't read the card. And I was like in a turmoil, So he had to go. His daughter's graduating from college, so he had to go. And then I went to Walmart, and I was like, either the card is bad or the camera is bad. and you can imagine which one I was hoping was bad.
It was it the camera though that was bad?
I bought a new card, and I put the new card in. It started working.
Oh, okay, good. So you got out relatively cheap then, I guess, that you didn't have to buy
two new high definition cards, but $8.98 instead of a new camera for $270.
Right.
Okay. Jay, all right, finish what you're saying. I want to show you something.
I was gonna say, let me go get the beer.
All right, let me show you. All right, go get the beer first, then I can show you when you come back. Go get the beer first. Because
I was getting ready to do a beer review. Okay.
When I was thinking when Jordan gave me this is the kind of promotional stuff that Jay would get, or the other people that do reviews. So Jordan's friend Jordan is a reviewer, but he's a reviewer who kind of doesn't care about, he's not into the beer itself so much. He reviews it, I guess, tries it, whatever. So whenever there's promotional stuff, he says, Jordan, Jordan is Bryce's best friend, my daughter. He says, give it to Michael. He'll like it. So I get a lot of that. So that's how I got all that Bourbon County stuff. So Jay, you ready to see something? This came from Sam Adams. It's a briefcase. It says, for the love of beer. And, it's got the top with the whole thing. And in it, they gave you some Sam Adams peanuts, 2 of their reformulated Boston lagers.
Nice.
This is a promotional can, which I don't like as much as the original, personally.
No, I didn't find it made much difference personally, but yeah, it was like
a little bit hoppier than the other one. And now the thing they're pushing is this Just for Haze, no alcohol IPA. I don't know if you've had this before or seen it. Look, I wouldn't buy it. I got it for free. They gave me 2 cans of each.
Yeah, I take it for free.
Literature where I think they want you to go out and say Sam Adams is still craft beer. Don't think because we're brewing mega amounts that we shouldn't be considered craft beer anymore. So that they want you to be an ambassador for them, telling them we want you to think we're the same people that we were.
Well, I mean, the word craft beer never really meant anything anyway. It was all just like,
right.
But,
it's nebulous, is what it is. I agree.
Yeah,
with you.
It's all about numbers anyway. Now, the volume. Do you meet the criteria? Do you brew less than a certain amount, and do you distribute to a certain? It's.
Is my connection good? Y'all find my connection is okay?
Oh yeah, great.
No lagging or anything? Yeah, because I had to buy a new system last year because my old connection was questionable. Let's say, but craft, look, and Samuel Adams, of all people, Boston Beer Company, to talk about craft beer and what is craft beer is funny because they were always like a corporate MBA. The guy was like a big time connected dude from Harvard University, but he was smart. He tried to pawn it off like, I did this in my kitchen with my mom and dad, and it worked, for a long time. But he really was not that. It was like more like Microsoft, Apple, Meta, pretending to be something else. But hey, but the whole thing about craft beer, when those people tried to sue Blue Moon, I thought it was a craft beer, but the whole thing is it's not a legal term. There's no legal term for craft beer. Craft beer is whatever you want it to be. Okay, kind of like this product.
Jeremy's here.
Nice. Okay, let me pull you up, Ron. I haven't had that one yet. I've heard about that. The Bi-Coastal IPA, yeah.
It's the East Coast meets West Coast. It's like the battle. It's like the War of the Gargantuas, the green Gargantua versus the brown Gargantua, old Japanese movie. And I don't know how many people can get this. It is sold in bottles and cans, but we're only getting cans around here. So it was 8.
Okay. Well, based on your review here, I actually saw it the other day at the craft beer store, so I may pick up a single at least. I can get singles at the store, so.
Oh, you can. It's going to be about $10.99 for a 6-pack, though.
Okay.
But I have so many I don't know which IPAs y'all review because I just ran into this midstream because like I said, I was at the store getting the new memory cards. So.
Yeah, I had a Treehouse IPA, so super local. You know, the famous Treehouse Brewery had one of their beers.
Have you had stuff from Bronx Brewing through the years, or you never have?
I never heard of it till you just said the name.
It's a local beer, but it does have some, like East Coast distribution now. It didn't.
I know. Oh, so that's what y'all worked on?
It wouldn't be in Louisiana.
That's what y'all were working on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So David Garlipede says John and Illy lives in the treehouse now.
I mean, it's one of the, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the best beers in the country. Everything's super fresh. The overall experience is dynamite. So
I'm just telling you what he's telling me.
He's right. He's right.
I said, well,
I should just change my channel name to Treehouse and Spyglass Beer Reviews.
I told him, I said, well, it's probably what he gets around there. I said, I'd probably be doing the same thing if I was around something like that, But anyway, here it is. It's kind of a expected look. We know but see, it's like semi-hazy because it's West Coast and East Coast. And it looks like a Lagunitas beer, you know what I mean?
It looks like kind of, is there stuff floating around in there?
Actually there is. It's a lot of powdery sediment, and there's some sediment that ain't so powdery. Kind of chunky, actually.
Interesting. Yeah. It looks I
like the look of that beer. That's a nice looking beer.
I have to turn off the lamp so it doesn't make a glare. Let's see. So yeah, that's kind of hazy. It's sort of orange, kind of orange gold. Okay. Aroma. Oh, now, John and Illy, I do appreciate you watching my channel. And Michael, I know sometimes you watch, I think, still.
I still do.
I'll admit that I don't watch Treehouse videos because I've never had it.
No, I get it. I know you don't watch reviews of products you haven't tried yet. So
yeah, because I can't relate to it. It's like watching movie reviews for a movie I've never seen. And it's like, okay, well, I never was planning to watch that movie anyway. I don't really watch movies, but you get the analogy. All right, but I do watch so many videos, it's unreal. But
I'm interested to hear about this beer here because this is one I can actually get. So this is nice.
It's well, fruity hop resin, as you all are well aware of. And it's the white bread crust, which you're also very well aware of with these IPAs. So it's sort of like if you mix West and East. All right, cheers, taste.
Cheers.
All right. If you don't like fruit, don't drink the beer because you ain't gonna like it. You know what I mean? Those fruity hops that are like, it's like, is this a peach? Is this a cold mango? Is this a cold tangerine? That kind of thing. It's like savory like that. So that's got some people running out the room and other people running into the room.
I would be running in the room to try. That sounds really
I like
good.
that style too. I like that style.
The bitterness is there, but it is that modern IPA bitterness, which means that it's like a soft bitterness. A little bit of pine, but you remember the 10, 12 years ago, they would be like, people would say they tasted like pine salt.
Yep.
Or the pine, the furniture polish, lemon.
Pledge.
Yeah, so people would say, oh, it's terrible. Or cat urine, oh, it's terrible. So then, and then John and Illy, I remember John and Illy many times saying it didn't really appeal to him, those kind of IPAs. It just, and I always said people are not required to like certain things. I tried to give a bunch of people Limburger cheese at work, and they said, no. I said, well, you ever tried Limburger cheese? No. But
some people, yeah, they can't even get past the smell, to try it because it's got a very interesting aroma. A lot of people say it smells like dirty feet,
Well, like sweaty feet.
Sweaty feet.
It could have been clean. Your feet could have been clean, but they might have been inside of leather cowboy boots for 12 hours in the heat. And then you take the boots off and you say, whoa. But I think that's all just overplayed. To me, if you give a true assessment of Limburger cheese, it just smells like cheese, like just strong, But this one tastes like it's just like a cold. It's like a cold fruit snack, so to speak, with the bitterness from like a orange rind but not so much grapefruit. Grapefruit would be a little bit over bitter. But yeah. So if you like cold fruit, and the white bread crust, because it is a malt beverage, you might enjoy this. The body's medium, and the finish is mostly dry. I would say the bitterness units on this are probably about 3.5 out of 5 hop cones. It's not that bitter. I don't remember the bitterness IBU. I don't think they put the IBUs on the website. They might have.
Lagunitas is they were one of the only breweries left that brew these super hoppy beers that was putting the IBU count on there, but it sounds like even they're starting to get away from doing that now.
Jay, is the alcohol well masked? Can you taste 8%?
And the finish is dry. That's a hard question for me to answer because I have a tendency to deal with a lot of high alcohol stuff, so I get like
numb to it.
It's not like numb to it, but it's like you get used to it. You know what I mean? So
right.
Then it's hard to pick. It's like hot sauce. If you put hot sauce on a lot of food, then nothing tastes hot. It's like you just get acclimated to it. So I guess, yeah, you can tell it's high gravity. It has that 40 bitterness units. I'm looking right here, 40. Okay.
Okay. That's kind of mid-range, I guess.
Tropical, dank, and orange. I would say yes, tropical. I don't know about the dank. That's pushing it. Orange. Oh yeah, just finished talking about how it tastes like cold fruit. So yeah, I wouldn't make a habit of buying it, but $10.99.
Did you read Jeremy's last comment? Did you read Jeremy's?
I don't think anybody's met up lately, Jeremy. I don't know though.
He gets the reference.
Yeah.
But I will be calling Mr. James P. You know who, and Jeremy, you will have a problem in a couple of days. But so you better go get your kazoo and get ready to roll.
It's a rich history of these little events we've had over the years.
This was my personal favorite right here. Jeremy switched to drinking straight pine salt. So good. Hint of lemon. I would say more than a hint, though. Very, very chemical, lemony. Not very good.
I like those Ray-Ban sunglasses, Jeremy. You look like a movie star.
He does.
I still can't get away from the old West Coast. And that's me. That's a personal preference issue. You understand? I like the Torpedo Extra IPA. I like the Lagunitas IPA, even the Goose Island IPA, the Two Hearted Ale. The old traditional ones, the Stone IPA. So I've had problems with the new thing over the years, as we all know.
Mm-hmm. It all comes down to personal preference, and a lot of people still love the more traditional, what people call West Coast IPAs, but a more traditional hoppy, bitter finishing IPA. And there's nothing wrong with that. I still like the Lagunitas IPA, and I don't know if they make the Hop Stupid anymore, but that was one of my favorites. It was 102 IBUs for you. But you know what? It was still well balanced, had a good malt backbone, and yeah, it was bitter as heck, but it was tasty and good. So
I was so hurt. I was so hurt when they got rid of that. Now they'd still make the Waldos, which we can't get. They still
Oh,
make, yeah,
that's such a good beer.
they still make the wall. They still make the doggone Maximus, which
Yeah.
sometimes I can get. Sometimes I can get. Now that's a beautiful product, but it was better in the old days when they really made it. Brown sugar was good when they made Maximus. When it was the old formula. I used to like some of those quirky New England IPAs like Pugsley's 4X IPA from Shipyard and regular Shipyard IPA. But a lot of people complained about Shipyard. They said, it's too strange because they used the Pride of Ringwood hops, but I didn't mind. Okay, but this is an A. I'll give it an A, like 93, you know.
Okay.
Okay. What was the price point on it? You probably already mentioned it.
Yeah, so it was like $10.99 for the 6-pack.
For the 6-pack. Okay. That's not too bad, really, for an 8% beer.
Oh, yeah, Monkey Fist, Craig. You're right. Monkey Fist was a great one. The original formula. Now, the new formula was fine, but of course, we can't get near
I will
those
be right back.
We can't get those Shipyard beers anymore. The only Shipyard beer we ever get these days, and that's rare, really. Well, we get
You don't get the Pumpkinhead. They're
that's what I was about trying to say. Pumpkinhead, and we get the Smash Pumpkin.
Okay. Shipyard. I never got Shipyard before I moved up. To Massachusetts. It wasn't available in Georgia anywhere. But being that I'm not too far from the brewery up here, we do get some of their beers, especially every year around early fall, Halloween time. We get the pumpkin beers from them. So
I love those. But oh by golly, we used to get so many Shipyard beers in Louisiana, so many, and I liked them because I don't think every beer should have to taste the same.
Right.
But people didn't like Shipyard because their beers did not taste like everybody else's beers. So, they were different. They're different.
Shifting to another IPA company, have you had this Big Little Thing?
That's Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada.
Yes, and I'm not a big fan of that series now, I'll be honest with you, but I did like the Big Little Thing. The Juicy Little Thing was a waste of my time.
The Hazy Little Thing was all right. I like that. It was okay.
It was fine.
Nothing.
But, the whole series is kind of like, hey, you want to try all our mass production IPAs that are kind of mediocre? And I'm like, sure. I try them, and I'm like, yeah, they're pretty mediocre. But the big Little Thing is better than normal. Yeah.
This was 9%. This was 9% and tasted like a regular IPA.
That's what Ron's describing about that series is the way that I feel about the Voodoo Ranger series from New Belgium. Now I feel like they've gone they have all these different beers that are basically the same 9.1%. They're high alcohol imperial variants, but they're all just the fruit.
And they got experimental number one, but they all taste the same.
Very similar.
They all taste very similar, and they're imperials now. The Star or the Fruit Force and the Juice Force and all of that. They have a weird artificial flavor to them.
They add flavoring.
They're just it's natural flavoring according to the label, but it's not very good.
It's not natural to what an IPA is.
Right. It's not It's not from the hops. The flavor is added flavor.
It's natural because it's from nature, but it's not natural to the product. Now, before I get off of here, would you like to see any other IPAs that I've got? Like,
sure.
The Beer Baron.
Yep, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to do Caitlin should be home in approximately 7 minutes. So we got 7 minutes to wrap this up, boys. So whatever you got, throw it at me.
We don't want you to get into scrap. But
I got to help unload groceries.
A Big Little Thing. I'm keen. I like Big Little Thing. Smutty Nose. Drink the beer. It's a
Smutty
good
Noses. Yeah. Smutty Noses as fall. They have really dropped in quality, I will say, over the last 4 or 5 years. Other than their old brown dog, like their brown ale is still really good. They have a couple of regular beers that if you can get them fresh, they're decent, but their specialty lineup, their barrel aged series, their Smut Labs experimental line, all of that stuff basically gone now.
It's
so
interesting.
They kind of went downhill, huh? And I never even got to try the doggone stuff.
Yeah, you're
They
not missing
acquired
much.
now Sloop Brewing, which is an upstate New York one that they own now, which I've had their beers before. We'll have to watch to see if they go downhill now. They've been acquired.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Jay,
I never
you
got
got
to try.
this. You could tell us what the show.
Here, I'll pull you up, Ron. You can show us what
All
you
right.
got.
This is just a taste. I got so many beer. It's not even funny. I got too much. All right.
Cheers, Tommy.
Hello, Tommy. Tommy thought I was ignoring his comment a while back. I said I wasn't ignoring your comment. I told Tommy that YouTube sometimes will like lose comments.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring anybody's comments. Okay, so here is the new Andy Gator. I'm
Ooh.
sorry, it's called Alpha Gator.
Alpha Gator. Okay.
Now, when it came out last year, it was 8.5, but now it's coming in at 9. Here is the Andy Gator. Yeah, that's a lager. Doppelbock. Hellestop. Now here, Hellestopelbock. Here is the Shiner Tex Hex Wicked Haze.
Ooh, I like the label. Oh, that's a much more aggressive Shiner label than what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, this is their new series, the Double Haze, and this is coming in at a low
9.5%. That's heavy for Shiner.
Wow.
They usually don't put out strong beers. Here's their Desert Mirage from their Tex Hex series, Desert Mirage. This is a weaker one. This is only 8%. This is like a lightweight.
Measly 8%. My goodness.
And then here's something that somebody sent me from Arizona. Thank you, Mo. This is called Juicy Jack, Juicy Hazy IPA.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
6.5. This is weak. But there's a Super Jack. I have a Super Jack in the fridge that's 9.5. So, you know, this is the lightweight compared to the Super Jack at 9.5. So I am just flooded with IPAs, and that is a problem that you two guys would like to have.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah, not at all. Michael, anything else you want to?
What I was going to mention is, you know who's gotten really much better? Gabriel. If you watch the stuff he puts on, the different, I don't know if you see it or not. Remember Gabriel from the old days, who used to come on, famous for the bathroom video, and from Arizona. Anyway, he comes on and he shows you stuff he's buying. It's all top notch now. At the beginning, he was basically a macro character, and now he's getting into craft beer, which I think is great. I mean, I always like Gabriel, and his reviewing skills.
He still comments on my channel sometimes. He's still around.
We always like Gabriel, but he wouldn't join the hangouts. You know,
he gave up after a while, but he still posts stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And Jay, don't think Jay, I've given up. It's just that my personal life is in a different phase. I'll try to get on more if I can, but
nobody
told
me.
I have my own group too that I'm dealing with also, and the summer is about to come, so things are all converging right now.
No, I never was taking it personally or anything like that. I just we missed having you, Michael, on the show, and but I don't want people to be under pressure. Like you must join. You know, like
I miss hanging out with you guys. You know, I obviously used to do this stuff a lot more. Nobody told me that marriage required so much of my. It's like a whole thing, you know.
It's like you got to share your life with another person.
Yeah, like I know it's crazy.
But I mean, Stout Sunday is
what it comes down to. A woman has to be as important to you as the beer is, and that is a tough change.
Yeah,
like Audrey says to me, Jay. Audrey says to me, it's beer, sports, and then me. I'm third on the list, but she's really not third on the list. She's number one, but the way I act, she's third on the list. The way she feels, anyway. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like a second thought kind of thing, or third thought.
Michael.
I've been married 42 years, so it hasn't been a short deal. She knows who I am. Maybe she's Jeremy. Maybe she's not totally thrilled, but she does know who I am. I do love her.
You are. She knows who you are, and she's willing to tolerate it.
But she's a good woman.
Now, you know,
Jay,
Greg.
you met her. Jay met her.
Yes, and that was a day that was largely tainted with disaster. But
it was weird because this storm hit that Jay.
I remember
you've hit storms before, but in the New York area, it's different.
I never got into a tropical storm, and I was literally halfway across a bridge leading to New York City.
Right. Yeah.
It was a strange night, but they did make it, and they had the last 5 beers with us, which was great.
There you go.
I was so aggravated, you know, but it could have been so much better. And then I got a $50 red light ticket.
Oh boy.
It's rough in the big city.
Well, that was my fault because I didn't pay attention. I ran through a red light actually.
Well, guys, Caitlin is approaching. I have to call it so I can go help her with the groceries and all of that. But
okay, John, we'll have to do another. We'll have to do another one soon.
We'll have to do another one. I definitely need to. I haven't joined a Ontario show in a long time, but I still do keep up with it. I'll watch it.
But like I was saying, Stout Sunday is not a prison.
No, I know.
Join it as you want to.
I appreciate you keeping the Stout Sunday alive because I haven't been able to do it in so long. It's nice that people still have an interest in it, and it's a lot of fun watching the playback of some of the Stout Sundays while I'm sitting watching baseball. You know, a very interesting, Jay, group that a pretty regular crowd with Jean Pierre, Dave Garlapede, and
Claude.
Yeah.
And
what now, beer?
David
Uh-oh.
Michael's Michael, you just broke up that whole last couple of sentences. I don't know. You're frozen right now.
Yeah, he did say yank, ring, and yank.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end this. Michael, if you can hear me, I appreciate you joining. Ron, thanks for joining as well. We got to review some good beers today. I want to thank everybody in the chat. We had a good chat today. Jeremy and Joey and Craig and Tommy Carroll and all you guys hadn't seen in a while. Good to have you in the chat. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all on the next live review, whatever that may be. Go check out Mr. Rontario if you haven't already. He's always doing live streams and reviews and pace challenges and all kinds of cool stuff. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon. All right.